Here we are again.
Here we are again.
I'm so happy to be outside with you. It's a stunning day today,
It is, yeah.
and that we get to do this together is just such a gift.
It is. I'm really excited to hear the messages. I was surprised that you said, I've got this flood of messages coming in. So I'm really excited for you to share them with people.
Well, ever since we relaunched my YouTube, I'm just getting flooded with so many messages. So this is not going to be a message for June, but I want people to go see that
Right.
because it's all kind of connected. This is going to be intuitive messages that are needing to be shared.
Great. All right. So what's up first?
So the first message is right now there's this dark cloud hanging over us. There's a dark cloud hanging over you perhaps, and it almost feels like a negative attachment, something that you don't really want on you, but it won't let up. It's almost sunken its claws in you, and you don't know how to rid yourself of it. So this can bring feelings of despair. It can bring a loss of confidence, a loss of motivation, and especially a loss of hope, like not knowing where your life is leading you anymore and really feeling hopeless.
Yeah. So what is that dark cloud?
The dark cloud is a percentage, and I think even if it's just 1% of you holding on to something that is no longer good for you. And so if I let go 99%, but there's still 1%, and I'm wishfully thinking, then I'm going to keep myself in that state of suffering. And the way to overcome that is really deciding that you're going to be glad to finally let this thing go because it's not healthy for you.
So you're saying that 1% is the hoping or wishing that things could be different, and that's why there's a dark cloud?
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of people right now are feeling like they're not actualizing their highest potential, and they have an idea or a vision of who they're supposed to become in the future, and it's not quite realizing. And so they're getting very down on themselves. So it's really important to understand that most of our suffering comes from a refusal to fully let go. I was thinking about this yesterday on my walk, and I want you to feel into the different textures of what I'm about to say. But the difference between completely refusing to let go and saying something like, I know this guy's going to come back into my life and he's finally going to commit to me, so I refuse to move on. So in other words, digging your heels in and not letting go of the thing that's hurting you, versus I'm sad that I have to let this go, but I know it's time. So there's more acceptance there. And think of letting go as an evolution. And then the third step being, I'm so glad that I'm finally choosing to let it go because it was hurting me all along. And I need to look forward to what's coming.
Yeah. It just gave me this image of someone walking down the street with like a backpack. And that backpack is that old life or the old relationship or job or whatever it is that they are holding on to. And if they only knew, you slip out of that backpack, let it go, you're going to be able to navigate life more easily, more fluidly, and more joyfully.
If you think about being sad to let something go, there's still a focus on wishing it could have worked out. So we have to take it a step further. And I'm not saying don't feel your feelings. Again, this is an evolution. It's about recognizing that you're sad and it sucks, and eventually being glad that you did that for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a really good message.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do need to let the dark cloud pass. So we don't want to bypass by just getting to the end of it. So I feel like there's a lesson, there's a message, there's something there that we need to learn to not ignore in order for that dark cloud to pass.
Exactly. One way you can think of it is the dark cloud is showing you where you still have resistance when it comes to letting go. So if you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling confused or despair, this is showing you you need to let go of whatever version of your life you wish could be and accept that it isn't.
Yeah, I do feel that, and I'll include myself in this. It's like we're addicted to the if only. Like, if only I had done this thing, or if only they had done this, or behaved this way, or said this. And we have to get away from that.
Yeah. And the reason why it's so difficult to let go is because we're afraid. But we don't really trust that life is going to take care of us. But I want you to know that your life can only get better if you do this for yourself. If you decide to move away from what's hurting you and you move closer to what's going to be helping you or what's going to be healing you.
I love that. Helping and healing.
Helping and healing. It's amazing how when we surrender to the truth of what's happening, which is maybe that person didn't pick you, or maybe you got fired from your job, or maybe your career isn't working out in the way that you had hoped it would. When you surrender to that truth, you're actually enabling life to shape you in the way that it wants to shape you. And the reason why we don't want to surrender is because we think that by controlling it, we're going to produce the outcome that we wish to produce. When in actuality, it's by surrendering that you're going to be further sculpted or shaped so that you can then receive what's intended for you.
We really do have to let go.
Yes.
We're not in control.
That's right. And I like to tell people, if you're attached to something or someone and you don't feel right inside, you just constantly have negative thoughts, or you're obsessing constantly, that's a sign that you're not strong enough to handle it. It's also a sign that it's not for you. The things that are for you, you're strong enough to handle. And going back to what you said, this is why there are lessons involved. If I'm not strong enough to quit my job yet, I have to humbly accept that I'm not strong enough to leave my job yet and continue to learn my lessons, continue to build my confidence, continue to grow in that respect. But if I think I'm strong enough to handle it and I'm not, then I'm lying to myself. And now I'm living in denial. I'm not accepting the reality of what is.
I like that you said, if you're not ready to quit the job, to kind of sit there and learn. What does that benefit us by knowing something isn't right for us, but feeling like we can't get out of it right now?
If you would be too overwhelmed to quit your job or to leave a relationship right now because you know that you wouldn't be strong enough to handle that, then by staying where you are, you're actually respecting your journey. You're respecting the timing of how things are meant to unfold. So this is the right way to do things because you're loving yourself. If I overwhelm myself, if I throw myself into the sea, into a sink or swim scenario, that's not very kind to myself. I'm not really being loving towards myself. So by staying where I'm supposed to be right now, I'm going to learn the necessary lessons and eventually graduate from that situation. And then I'll have the confidence to unquestionably leave that situation. At that point, I won't even question it. My body's going to tell me it's time.
Right.
And that's why I always tell people, don't force something. Like, why are you in such a hurry? Every lesson that you're learning along the way, you're going to need later on for whatever it is that you want to manifest. So keep accumulating those tools and add them to your tool belt.
Yeah, that's great.
The first message, just to wrap it up, is trust that your life is shaping you in a way that you may not be able to comprehend, but that's going to make sense later on. And don't fight it. Don't fight what's happening to you. This dark cloud that's looming over you is showing you where you still need to relinquish your control, because you might have an idea of how you're meant to produce these results, but the universe might have an entirely different idea of how these results are meant to come to life.
And it is usually that. The
Yes.
universe has a very different idea of what is right for you.
Well, because if you think about it, once I arrive at my highest potential, don't I just want to receive? You would think that you would just want to receive and be pampered. But if you're always trying to control everything, then your nervous system is going to be so shot by the time you finally arrive at your highest potential that you'll be too hardened to enjoy it. You're always going to be reaching for more.
That was a big one.
That was a big one.
But I think it's going to be very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next message has to do with melancholy, nostalgia, and regret. A lot of people right now are starting to regret their life choices.
Mhm.
You know, all of us, we have these different versions of the lives that we could have played out. I could have stayed in Montreal, Canada, and done something completely different.
Mhm.
And that choice would have resulted in the life that I would have been playing out right now. And instead, I chose to move to LA. That was a conscious choice that I made, but it hasn't been easy.
Mhm.
But it's never easy. And I want people to know that the choices that you didn't make would not have been easier. And if right now, and I'll give you a perfect example, let's say you moved to another country or another city, and you're starting to think about your childhood friends. I miss my friends, and I really think I should move back home because my life is not as meaningful, and I'm really starting to value my connections and my relationships. All that's fine and dandy, but ask yourself where it's coming from.
Mhm.
Is that stemming from a feeling of regret because things are not unfolding the way that you want them to in your life? Or is it truly coming from a place of, I understand what's important now? If it's the latter, it may not be a bad idea for you to move back home because you've understood the importance of friendship and relationships and all of that good stuff.
Mhm.
But if you know for certain that you did the right thing when you did it, and that's the key. How did you really feel when you lived back home?
Mhm.
Did you feel alone? Did you feel like you wanted a bigger life? Then if that was your truth back then, it should still be your truth because you should be able to follow through and commit to the life path that you've chosen for yourself.
I'm thinking of people who have that grass is greener mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like that is your perception. But the reason the grass is greener is because it's being watered and fed. And whoever owns that grass is putting something into it.
Yeah.
So you need to put something into the life that you want.
Yes. And I want people to understand that the issues that you're encountering in your life right now are just manifesting differently than they would have if you had stayed back home.
Hmm.
And that's just one example. I'm talking about relationships. Maybe you're starting to dwell on a relationship from your past, like someone that was really kind to you, and at the time you pushed them away, and now you're beating yourself up. So it's all about this nostalgia that's arising for so many of us around, did I make the right choices in my life? And I want to reassure you that you have.
Hmm.
You followed a feeling, you followed your instinct. And no one said it wouldn't be a bumpy road.
Hmm.
So hang on to your hat. But
Yeah.
no one said that it would be easy. But I really want you to ask yourself, what is driving you to think that you should move back home, or to think that you should call that person from your past, or to reopen a friendship that didn't work out?
Hmm.
If it's loneliness, if it's this feeling of depression, then you're probably not showing up as your best self,
Hmm.
and you're thinking that it's going to be better than what you have right now.
And we have to also keep in mind we move home, and who's to say that the people there are the way they used to be?
Mm-hmm.
They probably have families or they have changed. So that nostalgia is like going back to the past and wanting things to be like that. But time has changed. We've all changed. So
That
there are no guarantees.
that is spot on. It's so true. Because I think about that too sometimes. I miss my friends from childhood. We still talk on the phone. But sometimes I feel like I reach out a lot more than they do. And it's not that they're not good people. They're my friends. Like I love them forever and ever. But I do feel like I put more effort into the friendships. And then when I start to feel better, or I've been reading my book, or I've been meditating, I go, but what would it really be like if I moved back there?
Hmm.
It just seems like even right now, I'm making a concerted effort to keep those relationships going, but it doesn't really feel like it's being reciprocated.
Right.
And it's not because they're not good people, it's that they have kids now.
Hmm.
They have their own family.
Hmm.
They've moved on. And guess what? I was the first one to move on. I made that choice.
Hmm.
So I can't be mad at them.
Right. I think that that's going to be really helpful for people to know that we can't get caught up, similar to what I was saying before about being addicted to the if only, is you can't get caught up in, you know, if only I hadn't left, or if only I had gone home sooner. It's going to get you every time.
Yeah.
And then that's the suffering. And
That's
then
right.
that's the dark cloud. So I feel like the two are very similar
Very
or
much so.
connected. Yeah.
Absolutely. I also want you to pay close attention to the times that you've said to your friends, hey, we should go on a trip sometime, and really try to keep our friendship alive.
Hmm.
But they don't really do that for you.
Hmm.
And so, what are you holding on to?
Yeah.
Why don't you just let go?
Yeah. We've had this conversation before where it's like, how often does my phone ring? Or how often do I get a notification that I have a text message from
Never.
someone else?
I never get calls from anyone.
Right. I'm the same. It's like my phone has, it's like, do I even have a phone? It's not ringing, it's not buzzing.
Yeah.
Interestingly, yesterday, a friend did reach out after months of not hearing from her. Um, she was wondering if we were okay with everything happening in LA right now. And I was very, very appreciative. But it's like, yeah, my phone does not ring.
Yeah. And you clocked me the other day. You put me in my place, and I really appreciated it because I've been having a little thing with a friend that I love so dearly. And I just feel like this person is always running from me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to control you. I just want us to get on the same page.
Hmm.
And you said to me, baby, when are you going to learn your lesson?
Hmm.
And that was so poignant. And I love when you do that because it really humbles me, it grounds me. And you're so right. That's been a repetitive theme in my own life where I care about my friends more than they do. And I just want us to have very honest conversations about how we feel without making it more than it needs to.
Hmm.
Like, it doesn't mean I'm going to start calling you every day.
Yeah.
Like, I respect your space.
Yeah.
It's just that I want us to be able to connect. I think a lot of people are struggling with that too now. They could be holding on to friendships from their past, and maybe when they were young, they got along smashingly and they could be really blunt with each other. But as time passes and we lose contact, things almost start to get faker. Have you noticed that? Where people aren't as prone to having those direct conversations?
It does feel more surface.
Yes. And sometimes we have a hard time coming to terms with that because they're my friend. I've known them my whole life.
Hmm.
But I think that's why it's important to keep people in our lives that are not yes men,
Hmm.
people who just agree with everything that you say and do, but people who keep us grounded.
Hmm.
So if you've been contemplating what version of yourself you could have become or what version of your life you could have played out, please do yourself a favor and trust that you're exactly where you need to be. That where you are right now is where you're growing the most,
Hmm.
because otherwise you wouldn't have heard the call to move away or to leave this relationship or to leave that friendship behind or to switch careers.
Hmm.
Trust that you made the exact decision that had more life in it.
Hmm.
There was more oomph,
Right.
and you followed that call.
It's reminding me of what you've said to me a couple of times where this is what's meant to be because it's what's happening.
Yeah.
And going back to control and fear and like letting go of what's happening, you can't control it.
Yeah.
And it is meant for you because it is happening.
That's right. It's like, why is this happening to me? Because it's what's happening. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Again, it's that part of us that's always fighting. Imagine a wrestler. 3, 2, 1. We're just fighting, but we know it's over. Just stop.
Right. Yeah. Throw in the towel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been saying this a lot lately is try to accept the path that you chose, but also the path that's been laid out before you. Try to accept it. So let's move into the third message now. If you think about a human being, we're so full of love. If you give me a task, something to do, I can't wait to do it for you because I love you and I like to feel purposeful. Okay? Now, multiply that by 1,000,000 and let's just call that the universe's love, the benevolence of this universe. And you can use any word you want, it's fine. But the universe is inherently very loving. And it's always seeking to fix you, to heal you, to help you. That's the truth. And so even if your life is seemingly falling apart right now, I want you to trust that maybe it's falling apart because it's meant to be put back together in a better way,
Yeah.
in a new way.
Falling apart, but also falling into place. So I'm thinking of rebuilding a foundation or a structure, and you're taking away what's not important or what's not healthy, getting rid of all of that, and you are rebuilding from the ground up.
That's right.
Similar to in real estate, a gut renovation.
That's right.
You're actually going through a gut renovation.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's being dismantled to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
And so maybe right now your marriage is falling apart, or your friendships don't feel as authentic as they used to. And so anything that's not authentic cannot be sustained. I learned that a long time ago. If it's not built on honesty and integrity and authenticity, then it's not for you anymore. You can't keep that going because it's not in alignment with your highest self, with the best version of who you are.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people ask me sometimes, why does God hate me? Or why does the universe hate me so much? Why is this happening to me? It's happening to you because you're that loved. And that unless it meets you with brute force, you're not going to be willing to change it. And sometimes the universe has to get stronger than us so that it can sedate us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Force us to our knees. And then once we run out of energy in a good way, then that's when we surrender, and then life can start to get rebuilt.
We have to get exhausted in order for us to see the message or the lesson.
Yeah.
It's when we are being inauthentic or we are not in our integrity that we're missing so many things.
Yeah.
And when we're feeling like the universe hates me, or why is this happening, we have to surrender. And in the surrender is the lesson or the message. So we need to be put in a situation where that can actually happen.
Yeah. And by the way, sometimes that can even be your health. Sometimes we can get sick because there's something we're not hearing, something that we're not seeing. And so the reason we have to get sick is so that we can finally be in bed and stop resisting our lessons. A perfect example of that would be a businessman who is corrupt and greedy and makes all his money in a non-integrous way. At some point, that's going to come crashing down because he's missing the lesson of what he needs to learn in this life, which is to be compassionate, to stop being in such a hurry, to stop showing off. So the universe is always going to put us in our place, whether we like it or not. And so if you're not really being put in your place right now and it's not hurting, try to bring your attention to what needs to start changing in your life before you're forced to change it. You don't need to wait to hit rock bottom for things to change. Try to focus on where you're still attached to people or situations or behaviors that are hurting you, and start, as I like to say, freeing up that energy. So in other words, where is your energy still tied up right now in a way that's hurting you? And try to untie it. Try to set it free.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow you to feel vital again. It's going to help you feel healthy again.
So when you said about sometimes our behavior is making us sick, I'm thinking of someone who's in a relationship that they know is not right for them.
Yeah.
And they are behaving in such kind of out of character ways that they need to take a moment and say, is this really me? If you're searching through your partner's phone, or you're stalking them on social media and like checking out everything, that's not healthy. That's not a healthy relationship. So if that's not how you want to show up in a relationship, maybe say, this is not healthy for me. The way I'm behaving right now is not healthy. So what is this saying about the relationship that I'm in?
Right. Now, if they haven't given you a reason to do that, to stalk their social media or to question the relationship, then it's probably just historic trauma that you're projecting. It's like the cycle never ends until we stop it. But if they've given you a reason, or they're not communicative, or they're not supportive, they don't tend to your needs, then think about how they make you feel. And I always tell people, the way someone makes you feel tells you everything that you need to know. So it's really important that if you have a partner who's unwilling to communicate or to really listen to you when you're hurting inside, to recognize that they're not a healthy partner for you. And so circling back to what I said earlier, if you're attached or linked to something or someone that isn't in alignment with your highest good or with the highest version of you, you won't feel good. Your body is notifying you that this person should not be in your life because they're not bringing out your best qualities. So it's really important that you think about, how do I feel with this person versus this person? With this person, I feel so safe. I feel like I can share anything and I'm never judged for it. With this person, I'm always walking on eggshells. I don't feel like I can share anything that's on my heart. They always make me feel like I'm bothering them. So that should let you know, think of it like as a tube that's connecting you to that person. You're internalizing their lack of compassion. You're internalizing their lack of accountability. And so why are you still in it? So absolve yourself of any negative attachments that bring out the worst qualities in you, and stop feeling the need to prove that you can do it. Stop feeling the need that you can make this marriage work when your husband has told you time and again, I don't want to go to therapy. He's letting you know you're not that important. Like, what else do you want? He's laid it out there for you. You're not that important to me. Our marriage is not that important to me. Now let me get back to my football.
A lot of us are fixers, and we want to get the person to see the light. If I'm good enough, I'll be able to get them to see that this is the right relationship.
Yes.
I'm the right person for them.
That's so true. Most of what you do to fix people or educate people is an avoidance to something you don't want to learn. Truly. The partner or the wife or the husband that says, but I know they can change, bring that back to yourself. Is that really the truth, or is it just that financially you're not stable enough to get your own place? So you're making it about them because you're avoiding the lesson that you now need to learn, which is to become independent, to stop giving your power away, to decide what kind of partnership you want to have. You don't need to make yourself suffer the way that you are. You really don't. People show you who they are every day. So don't turn a blind eye to that. Like, the universe is showing you. The writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep denying it?
Yeah.
Or are you going to set yourself free and empower yourself?
Yeah. It's that saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Ooh, I didn't know that the first time was in there.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So does this kind of bring us to a final message, or how can we conclude this?
How can we put a beautiful bow on it?
You know, we started with a dark cloud.
Yes.
So like, how do we come out of it?
So as a last message, and I want to end this on a high note, is try your best to enjoy your journey, because what you're going through right now, you will never go through again. And there's a moment in the future where everything is going to come together for you. And you're going to wish that you had enjoyed this time more, this phase of your journey more. So imagine that your future self has everything she wants, or everything they want. And now you're looking back at your life where you are right now, and you're going, I really wish I would have enjoyed that more, because I would have ended up here anyway.
I feel like I do hear that a lot. I wish I had enjoyed the process, or I wish I had enjoyed where I was then.
And it's tough because there's a climb, and the climb is not easy, especially when you have so much potential and you know that you're destined to do so much more with your life. How can you possibly, I understand people very well, how can you possibly accept where you are right now when it doesn't really represent who you know yourself to be? It's difficult, but it's all about belief in yourself. If I believe beyond the shadow of a doubt that I'm eventually going to be that person that I envision myself becoming, then what's the rush?
Right.
If anything, you're going to manifest more if you embody that future version of yourself. And you treat this like a little game. Oh, people have no clue who I am yet because time isn't reflecting it yet. Where we're living right now isn't reflecting it.
Right.
But I know what I am, and people are catching up to me.
I like the idea of it unfolding in front of you versus you making it happen and controlling every step of the way.
Yeah. Think of it as you're going to drop in. You're going to be that future version of you now, and now you're going to drop into your past, which is really now. Are you getting that? You're going to drop into your past, which is happening presently, and you're just going to treat it like a game, and you're going to receive. I'm so glad I brought that up, because I think a big reason as to why we suffer is because we're always doing, going, and then we're not in that receiving mode. So we're almost ahead of life as opposed to falling back and allowing life to pamper us and to pour into us. So imagine that you're now that future self and you're falling back and you're going to receive how your journey wishes to unfold.
It's really beautiful.
Isn't that so true?
It's so true.
Like, we're always ahead of it. I need to rush to the store. I need to rush to work. I need to rush. We're not even receiving. And then we get hardened over time. And by the time we achieve our success, it's so hardened that we don't even know how to enjoy it. So work on softening those muscles a little bit. Go do some yoga. Don't lift weights. The weights is just you're hardening yourself.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Go lift the weights if it makes you happy, but then stretch after. You need balance in life.
Do you feel like that summed up the messages that you have?
It did, yeah. And I'm sure I'm going to have more in a few days from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're going to, like tomorrow, you're going to have more messages. Baby, we got to record. We got to record. Yeah.
I think we're complete for now.
Wonderful.